Hello. I have been meaning to make so many astrology videos. I have two in particular that I really want to make, but I have been so busy that they have still been in a thought form state at this point. But right now, I do want to make a quick little video concerning Venus because we are very close to being able to see a visible evening star Venus. Now, I am traveling. I am in New Mexico, and I'm going to be here for 2 weeks. And I must say, the skies of New Mexico are incomparable. They are stunning. And luckily, the hotel I'm staying in has a beautiful view of the western sky and the horizon. So each evening, I've been watching the sunset and watching with great anticipation as the colors emerge in the sky. And it's given me a bit of an epiphany because I've been waiting for Venus because we are so close to Venus emerging from, as they say in astrology, under the beams. And so each night I hoped that maybe I would get my first glimpse. And I haven't yet, but I think it's coming really soon. So there are a few things I want about this epiphany that I've had. There are three titles, or I suppose titles, three kinds of classifications of how a planet is described when it is in relation with the sun, very close to the sun. So the first one, and this is probably the most sacred one, is called Cazimi. And this is very special and minute. And it is when a planet is almost exactly conjunct the sun. Now, this is illumination. This is very, very sacred when a planet is in this position. And so Cazimi means either in the throne room of the king or in the heart of the sun. So this is a very special moment, and it doesn't last long. So that's the core of a planet's relationship with being close to the sun. The next thing is when a planet is combust. Now, this is when a planet is about 8 degrees from the sun. Now, this doesn't have the reputation of being quite as sacred as being Cazimi. In fact, quite the opposite. People often talk about combust planets as being fearful or nervous because the rays of the sun are so hot that it burns away the qualities of a planet. Now, this could be true because everything is true. Everything is true. But I have a little bit of a different take on it. Now, the third relationship with a planet very close to the sun is called under the beams. And this is where Venus is right now. Well, technically, I should say it is October 9th. Technically, she has just slipped out from under the beams. So this is why I'm so excited. So under the beams is under the beams of the sunlight, and it is about 16 degrees. Now this is not a visible planet, but this is a planet that's, it doesn't have a sinister reputation of the combust planets. So this is where I'm at, waiting for a Venus under the beams to emerge into the evening sky. Now this is where my epiphany came, because the sky in New Mexico, and I tried to take a picture, but my phone is very much lacking, and it looked muddy and sad. So I wish you could just imagine with me for a minute the New Mexico western sky, and above you is a great expanse of deep night and indigo and periwinkle blue, and then it's a full spectrum rainbow. So as we approach the western skylight, it goes from blue to green to yellow to orange and even a slight bit of red. So you have a full rainbow all around you. And this made me feel so inspired to realize what under the beams really means. in light, spectrum of light, light is waves, and the longer waves are the red waves. So the warmer the color of the spectrum, the longer the waves are, and the more powerful the waves are. And then the wavelengths get shorter as you get into the cooler colors. So as I've been watching every night, because I've been watching to see exactly the degree of Venus in that moment and exactly the degree of the western horizon as the sky sinks into the west. And what I've been noticing is the color. So, on the western horizon, right after the sun sinks, it gets condensed. The warm colors start to condense, and you get a very powerful strip of reddish orange, and then a rosy peach, and then a golden peach. Um, and I was noticing that what Venus needs to escape from is not just 16 degrees of being under the beams of the sun. She needs to go through the warm colored spectrum. And I think, and it's especially obvious while I'm here in New Mexico because their skies are so special. But I think that the moment I'm going to see Venus is when she has gone farther enough from the sun that she reaches the green and blue part of the spectrum. Now, this ties in with some other thoughts that I've had about astrology because, as we all know, astrology is very much the study of light. And most light that we speak of is the one. It's the sun. It's the all. It's the life giver. And I do believe it is one very good way to connect with the divine. And so the light of the sun and how it, oh, sorry, I forgot to turn off my phone. Um, the light of the sun and how it touches the earth is one very important aspect of astrology. But something else that is very important is the fact that, excepting Jupiter, all the planets' light, all the luminaries in the sky that we see, except the stars, are reflected light from the sun. So much of astrology is about light. Now, I'm sure you've all heard of the double slit experiment that was done in physics. And I'm hoping I get this right, but that energy and light travels in waves. Now, this was the experiment that kind of blew science away, and it also kind of opened the door to explorations into quantum physics and physics that didn't fit into the Newtonian world. So when energy is traveling, it travels in waves. Now, when energy is observed, it stops being a wave and it becomes a particle. And this is a great reason why I am chasing my first glimpse of Venus, because this is a relationship. This is what it's all about. I have the strongest feeling that light wants to be seen, and light wants to be recognized, and light wants to have a relationship. And because when it is observed, it becomes something else, and it becomes part of you. And this is why my first glimpse of Venus as evening star, I want her waves of light to reach me and become a particle of me. Now, um, actually, humans do emit light as well. All things do, but they're in spectrums that we cannot visibly see. So our eyes are very tuned to the spectrum that we see in the rainbow that we so love, and in the sunset. So any day now, Venus will be shining in the sunset. And so I have a strong suspicion that it will happen when she gets far enough away from the sun, that she's moved out of the warm colored spectrum and into the cool. Now, I think this means something, and I have to do a lot more pondering about that. But at the minimum, it does give me an insight into what under the beams means. It means that you belong to the spectrum of the sun and the warmth and light of the sun, and that the the beauty of the planet is in glory for the sun, and not so much for us. So the way to tune in to the magic of the planet that is still in the reds and oranges and yellows is to tune into the sun, because it is the one, and we can learn much from interacting with the one light. All right. Good night and happy Venus hunting. All right. I have a little PS now, and I have been too busy to actually post this video for the last couple days. It's October 13th, 2019, and it's the day of the Aries full moon. And it's actually very fortunate that I was too busy to post this, because today was a special day. This evening, I I had hoped very much that this would be the night that I saw Venus, and it was. So, in the sunset, she was shining, almost scintillating, so beautifully. Um, and I have to admit that I was a little bit wrong. She was not in the blue section of the sky. She was still in the part of the warm colors where she was at the very edge of the peachy golds that was just about to turn to green. So my theory was wrong, but I still feel like a planet in the spectrum of the colors means something, and something perhaps to do with being under the beams. So I just wanted to put this little PS at the end to say I saw her, she is radiant, and we have a period of time now where we can be observed by beautiful Venus in the evening. And so I do think even if your horizon is not flat as it is here in New Mexico, it is time to start looking for Venus. So so yeah, happy day for me. I actually it healed my heart in many ways. And okay, go look for her. Thank you.